Hello and welcome to CSS3 Essential Training. In this session, we are going to look at the CSS syntax for fonts. There are many types of fonts. There are fonts for the web, standard web fonts, and there are proprietary fonts, all that. So we look at how to apply all this. If you're working on the web, it is always a good idea to use what's called a web-safe fonts. What it means is these fonts are already installed in majority of the computers. It is the standard. With these standard fonts, browsers can display text on a web page. The most web-safe fonts are, it's a family called Arial, Times Roman, and Courier New. There are three types of fonts: serif fonts, sans serif, and monospace. Serif fonts means they have a little curvy thing at the end, so that is called serif fonts. Sans serif means without. Serif got little curved thing at the end. Sans serif means there is no curve, it is straightforward. So sans means without the curve. The other one is monospace, that uses each character uses same amount of space. Basically, sans serif fonts are easy to read. There are many sites on the web. We can look for how the fonts look like. You can change stuff in here, and you can look at the preview of it. And say, for example, on Comic Sans, I click on that, and that is Comic Sans. Click again, it goes back. Let's look at the Georgia. That's the Georgia font. Click on that. So various fonts are available you can experiment with. For this session, I created a folder called CSS Fonts, and I opened it in Sublime Text. In this page, I just added a heading and text. And if you look in the browser, and that's how it looks. And this is a style sheet. In the style sheet, I added the background color. Body background color is some sort of a green. And H2 is, this is H2, is some other color. And the paragraph is font family, font size, font weight. Looking at the fonts more closely, paragraph font family. So we need a font family. And this is the first one. It says, if available, use this. If this is not available, the computer will choose this one. And if that is not available, the computer will choose this one. So that is what's called fallback fonts. If one font is not available, it goes to the next. And another point is, if your font has a space in between, the name got space in between, use the quotation mark. Okay. Font size, I put here 12 pixel, and this 12 pixel is what's called absolute values. And the idea is, if I increase the value, say for example, I say let's increase to say 24, save it and see how it looks. If I refresh the page, the font size is bigger. Okay, so this is called absolute, and the users cannot change it. But of course, users can zoom in the page. That's a different matter. Another way to express font size is what's called a relative value. What's called 1em. That is the standard. Control S, save, and refresh it. So that is the standard size. So normally it is 16 pixels. So if you want it to make it double, say 2em, if I refresh it, this will become double. Refresh it, there. This type of font size is called a relative value, and that is a good thing. If we put relative values, what it does is when the user resizes the browser, the font also adjusts itself. So it will be what's called more responsive. The next property is font weight. You can have a normal or a light or bold. You can also put some number between what's called 100 to 900, somewhere in between. 100 is the light one, 900 is the bold one, extra bold or something. All right, but it is in most cases you can get away with the normal or bold or light. Another shortcut is you can also put the same thing like this. Instead of separate line, you can put it in one line. I just commented out here. This is how you comment in CSS. Just a slash star, then put whatever value. And so at the moment it's commented out. So either you can put it this way or that way. It is exactly the same thing. So this is a bit of what's called a shortcut. You can also express this way. Let me change back to 1em, more standard. Control S and refresh. Another property we can add is what's called line height. Line height there. and we can put a relative value, say for example 2em. See what happened. Control S, save. So if I refresh it, the space between these sentences become bigger. So in some cases it may be more readable. Refresh, things like that. So there may be some situation you may want to add more space between these lines. Alright, so that is about line height. For accessibility purpose, it is better to use these relative numbers. Another proprietary font is what's called Google fonts. These fonts are owned by Google. So what happens is, if you want to use any of these fonts, you have to download it first and use it on your web page. For example, let us try one of these, see how it looks. At the moment it is showing 915 fonts, font families. Let us narrow down to something more interesting. Say for example, I only want to see handwriting fonts. So remove this. Alright, let's try one. There are many handwriting fonts. Let's choose one of them. Say for example this one. So what you do is you just press this button, plus button. You are adding the script, and then you select whatever you can select many if you like. Here I selected this one. You put this link on your web page, and this specify this on your CSS file. Okay, so let's do that. I'll copy that, Control C, then go to your site and add that link over here. Then use this on your CSS file. Control C and go to your CSS file and say for example add that in here. This name you can give any name you like. Let's create a div, say this paragraph div. Say I want only this paragraph to be like that. So put it there, and in here class equal to, you give a name. I just gave Google. I just gave this div a class name Google font and added that Google font in here with this family. All right. So the steps are, first you create the link that is importing that font from Google and mention that on your CSS file, the name of the font. Then obviously I want to comment this out because I'm applying to a paragraph there. Comment out. Okay, save it. Right. So when I refresh it, when I refresh this page, this font should apply cushion script. Let's see, refresh. There we are. So that is the Google font applied. That's how you apply proprietary fonts from external sources. I have provided all these links on the description of the video. Important message is use web-safe fonts, number one. Number two, do not use too many fonts. Just 1 or 2 fonts is sufficient. It gives a uniform look and feel for your site. And 3, use only the proprietary fonts in some extreme circumstances where you may need some fancy look, whatever. Use that very sparingly. So that is all about CSS fonts, and thank you for watching. As usual, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with friends, and thank you very much.